to me. I want him back in my Sunday school class. I redeemed you. I bought you back. I paid a price for you. That's what Jesus did for you. He paid a price for the whole world, that we could be redeemed back to God. That again we could have the fellowship with God. That again we could be saved. Because sin had cut us off from God. Okay? So now you can be redeemed. The way has been made, but it's up to every individual to accept the redemption. Jesus has been that perfect sacrifice. He made the way. And if you don't accept Jesus, then in your individual cases, his dying was in vain. He gave his life for you. He sacrificed his life. Jesus died on the cross and hung there for 6 hours. Now, can you imagine if I took your hand, Cortez, and took a nail? I ain't talking about no little pin nail. They like one of them railroad spikes. Put it at your hand and got me a sludge hammer. You would be hollering and screaming. And I nailed both of your hands to this table and left you there for 6 hours. You would probably die. First of all, you would bleed to death. Okay? Second of all, the agony, you might just die just from the pain, go into shock. But they did that to Jesus, and he wasn't nailed to no table. He was hanging, his body weight, hanging from the cross. They put his feet on top of each other and drove a nail through his feet. They took thorns and twigged them together and put them around his head and pulled him down on his head, and blood came streaming down his face. They took a spear, you know those long spears that those Roman soldiers have, and stuck it through his side and pulled it out, and blood and water began to gush out. While he hung there dying for Courtney, Cortez, Tatiana, Kiki, and all of the rest of the world. Dying for 6 long hours. Can you imagine having nails in your hands and feet for 6 long hours? While people walked up and scorned him and laughed at him and talked about him. You saved others, but you can't save yourself. Come on down off that tree and save yourself. Even one of the thieves that was on the cross was saying stuff about him. He saved him, saved others, but he couldn't save himself. And the other thief told him, had to tell him, man, shut up. What are you talking about? We are guilty for being up here. We were thieves, but this man has done nothing. God revealed that to that thief. And he asked Jesus, remember me when you enter into paradise. And Jesus told him, this day, you're going to be with me in paradise. He saved that man. At his moment, hour of death. Amen. So Jesus paid the price for you to be redeemed back to God, so that you could again have fellowship with God. You can have a relationship, a personal relationship. Salvation is personal. It's personal. You can't get saved because somebody else got saved. You got to get saved because you tired of sin and you want a life with Jesus. You want a relationship with God's only Son, and God will give it to you. And it'll be more than anything that you could ever have on this earth. Clothes, friends, toys, games, video games, good times, hee-hawing with your friends. A relationship with Jesus Christ that'll go with you throughout every stage in life. When you can't find a friend, friends come and go. Okay? I looked up and most of my friends have moved away, out of town, gone different places. People go on with their lives, have things to do, husbands, wives, cars, jobs. They have things to do, and a friend just can't always be there patting your hand or telling you it's okay. But Jesus can. In the midnight hour, Jesus can be there with you. When the doctor has given you up and said, we've done all we can do, there's nothing else we can do. He has a brain tumor. She has terminal cancer, AIDS, whatever. Jesus can be there with you. So it's important to establish that relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay? Okay, under the picture here it says, God will never forget, and I need you to look at your book, Kiki, His promise to bring His people back to their homeland. Now in this lesson, it was talking about the children of Israel, who are God's chosen people. Okay? God chose this little small group of people who were very vulnerable in comparison with the other populations and countries in the world. Israel was a small little group of people. But God chose this little small group of people because He could take that small little group of people and show Himself mighty. Okay? And He did that. There are many situations in the Bible that shows how God showed Himself mighty through that little small group of people. And they're even still talking about it today. What's one of the movies that Hollywood even made? Does anybody know? What? The Ten Commandments. Okay? You need to say that loud. The Ten Commandments. Okay? The world's still talking about it. How God took that little group of vulnerable, weak people. The Egyptians thought they were so weak that they had enslaved them. You work for us. Get out there and build this and build that. Hitting them with whips and got the women working in their castles and different things. Taking their children and making them work for them. Got the men out there working at the sweat of their brow, slaving. They thought they were so weak and so vulnerable. But God showed Himself mighty through that little group of people. He took those little people and He used them so that the Egyptians became afraid of them, and Pharaoh had to let those people go. Okay?